We see mountains and think of majesty, but in war, these cathedrals of nature become vertical battlefields. The beauty is a mask for a brutal, unforgiving environment that is as much an enemy as any opposing force. The mountain doesn't care if you're a soldier or a civilian. It tests everyone the same. Survival here isn't just about fighting, it's about enduring an environment that wants you gone. The cold seeps into your bones, the thin air steals your breath, and every step is a gamble. At altitude, the rules of war are rewritten. A simple march becomes a monumental feat. Supply lines become fragile threads, easily broken by avalanche or blizzard. For soldiers and refugees alike, the mountain itself is the primary adversary, a silent, impartial killer. The fight is not just left to right, but up and down against an opponent that never tires. This is the Alpine crucible, a place that forges resilience or breaks you completely. To conquer the foe, you must first survive the landscape. The mountain teaches us about survival against overwhelming odds. Mountains have always been a double-edged sword, sanctuary and trap. The Afghan Mujahideen used the Hindu Kush to fight a superpower to a standstill, the terrain their greatest ally. But the same mountains can turn into deadly killing fields, where the elements claim more lives than bullets. In World War II, the Italian campaign's battles were as much about surviving the cold and mud as fighting the enemy. The mountain multiplies every hardship: frostbite, exposure, exhaustion. The Sino-Indian War proved you can't just move an army into the high mountains and expect it to fight. The body needs time to adapt, or it will fail. The side that understands and respects the mountain holds the advantage. For refugees, the mountain is a final, desperate barrier between life and death. Survival here depends on grit and an instinctual understanding of the terrain. The most insidious enemy in the mountains is the lack of oxygen. At 12,000 feet, you have 40% less oxygen with every breath. Your body is starved. Hypoxia turns every task into a struggle, and exhaustion is constant. The mind suffers first. Judgment falters, mistakes multiply, and confusion sets in. Acute mountain sickness can make a veteran act like a rookie, putting everyone at risk. Ignore the warning signs and the mountain escalates. Lungs fill with fluid, the brain swells, and death follows. The only real cure is to descend, but in war, retreat isn't always an option. Acclimatization is the only defense, but war doesn't wait for the body to adapt. Armies and refugees often ascend too quickly, becoming casualties of their own biology. The thin air is a silent thief, stealing strength and clarity. Surviving here means respecting your limits. Willpower alone isn't enough. The mountain exposes the limits of human endurance. Recognizing this invisible threat is the first step to survival. In the mountains, gravity is relentless. Every step upward is a battle. Every descent a risk. Going down can be even more dangerous than climbing up. Fatigue and focus fade, and mistakes become deadly. A slip on ice or loose rock can turn into a fatal fall, especially when burdened with heavy gear. Weather amplifies danger. A sudden freeze or downpour transforms trails into death traps. Soldiers and refugees must read the terrain, move deliberately, and use every advantage the landscape offers. Mountain troops practice stability and control, using poles and ropes. For refugees, descent is a terrifying ordeal. The lesson: never underestimate the danger of going down. Gravity is always waiting for a lapse in focus. In the mountains, survival means constant vigilance, especially on the descent. The mountain gives no second chances. Every step is a test of skill and respect for the terrain. Complacency is punished swiftly. In the high mountains, you burn calories at an astonishing rate, but the land offers little in return. Managing rations is the essence of survival. Supply lines are unreliable, and every crumb is precious. Soldiers learn to eat for fuel, not pleasure, stretching rations to the limit. Hunger is a powerful force that can lead to poor decisions, but discipline is survival. When food runs out, improvisation is key. Edible plants, small animals, anything to keep moving. Water is critical. Snow and ice must be melted, not eaten, to avoid hypothermia. Shelter conserves energy. Tents, snow caves, or improvised lean-tos protect from the wind and cold. Every calorie saved by good shelter is a calorie for survival. The basics, food, water, shelter, are the pillars of endurance. In the mountains, survival is about making the most of the little you have. Resourcefulness is as important as strength. The mountain rewards those who adapt. Every day is a battle for sustenance. And so in the mountains, getting lost is a death sentence. Compasses can fail, GPS dies, and maps are often useless. Survivors learn to read the land. The sun's path, moss on rocks, snow patterns, and the flow of water. Route finding is about efficiency and safety, not just direction. The shortest path is rarely the safest. Ridgelines and animal trails often offer the best way forward. Reading the terrain is a deep instinctual intelligence based being present, observant, and adaptable. For soldiers and refugees, this skill is more valuable than any gadget. The mountain's logic becomes your map. Survival means using every clue the land provides. The physical battle in the mountains is brutal, but the psychological war is even harder. The vast, indifferent landscape breeds fear, isolation, and exhaustion. Survivors learn to focus on the immediate, one step, one task at a time. Routine becomes a psychological anchor in chaos. Hope is fuel for the spirit, guarded fiercely in the darkest moments. Comradeship is vital. Sharing burdens and encouragement forges a collective will to survive. Mental resilience comes from acceptance. Pain, cold, and fear are constants. You don't fight them, you acknowledge them and keep moving. The mountain teaches you to be comfortable with discomfort. True strength is the will to continue despite hardship. The summit is not just a peak, but mastery of your own mind. Survival is a mental game as much as a physical one. The mountain reveals the strength you never knew you had. The mountain's first lesson is respect. You don't conquer it, you're allowed to pass. Survivors treat the mountain as a living force, watching for signs and respecting its power. Humility is the cornerstone of survival. The second lesson, know your limits. Pushing too hard is disaster. Survivors pace themselves, rest when needed, and invest in their own survival. Resilience is built step by step, night by night, pain by pain. The mountain strips you to your core, revealing hidden strength. Simplicity is key. Warmth, water, food, shelter matter most. The basics save lives when all else fails. The mountain's wisdom is timeless: respect, resilience, and simplicity. The Alpine Crucible's stories are timeless parables for our own struggles. We all face mountains, personal, professional, psychological. The lesson: break down challenges into small, manageable steps. Hope and human connection are lifelines. Survival is a shared effort. True strength is the will to continue despite fear or pain. We are all more resilient than we believe. Respect the terrain, focus on the next step, and never give up.